Nick Palmer and Evan Harkin with 90.7 WFUV Sports, and we are thrilled to have a four-time World Series champion, four-time Gold Glove winner, five-time All-Star, classically trained jazz guitarist, and the curator of Bernie's Blend, his signature red wine with Millbrook Winery, where they will host an annual jazz concert where Bernie and his band of friends will perform live on Saturday, August 3rd, 2024. Bernie, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. This is great.
So we heard you were rehearsing today for the upcoming show, where jazz pianist Larry Hamm will open the show, wine tastings, food trucks. Can you give us a hint or maybe a teaser on some of the tracks you'll be playing and what we can expect from the concert this year?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on the show, and just a quick shout out to all the fans and everybody out there listening. Yeah, the show is going to be Saturday, and we are going to have a nice blend of music. From some of my original tracks that I've recorded over two albums, The Journey Within and Moving Forward, and we are going to actually pay a tribute to arts and music education. At some point during the course of the show, when we are going to have a sort of a charitable component to it, and try to raise awareness about arts and music education in the area. I think we have some guests that are going to come and are going to also participate of the event, in the event, and just a nice blend of original music and some of the covers that are going to be upbeat. It's outdoors. It's going to be on the lawn, so people are just free to bring their chairs and just move around and dance and be happy and taste a lot of wine.
You talk about a nice blend of music. How about a nice blend of wine with Bernie's Blend? Could you talk a little bit about how you've come to appreciate wine and what went into this?
Well, yeah, I mean, coming to appreciate wine might not be a hard thing to do. Uh, I've always been, sort of enthusiastic about having wine with meals and, what have you. But, recently I've discovered, actually, how great, wine enhances, the flavor of the food, that you're cooking or eating, somewhere. It just makes for great nuances and flavor. And all of that has been sort of put together with this sort of partnership what I have with Millbrook Wineries. It was, kind of one of the sort of, kind of interesting things that happened about 3 years ago. I was just kind of literally stumbled upon the winery. And one thing led to another. I think originally I wanted to do mostly like a sort of a jazz kind of, concert, in the lawn, and just making sure that I sort of appreciate the winery and the food and the music. And then one thing led to another, and we started just talking about having a blended wine. And this is like the third year now that this has happened, and it started with wine, a blend of a Cabernet, Merlot, and Cabernet Franc. So those are the main varietals that are in the wine, and it's actually pretty good drinking. Not for nothing, but it is great to drink now, or you can wait 10 or 15 years and drink it after. But these guys are just a great family of wines, and they know what they're doing, and I'm so proud and glad that I'm in that project.
I did want to
Yeah,
ask you about the artwork on this bottle, right, real quick, Evan, because your daughter did design it, right? And it's a combination of grapes, guitars, baseballs. Was it important for you to pass on your love of the arts to your children, and how does that manifest for them?
Oh well, my children are definitely smarter than me. They they have come to realize that life, it's kind of a little bit harder with sports and professional sports. As that will be made. But I got them in a situation where they are able to do their own thing. They're more inclined into arts and music, and case in point, my one of my daughters, Beatriz, she was the one that designed and did the artwork with the help of her younger sister Bianca. They put the whole theme together with the guitar, which by the way is a 57 Strat that I recently got. Some grapes, obviously apropos, and then just a baseball glove and baseballs, sort of to kind of round the whole scene. And we wanted to kind of make it look sort of kind of a classical style painting, but just kind of like modern elements, just to bring a little bit of that modern touch. And alluding to what I've been doing, most of my adult life, which is playing baseball and playing music, and blend it all together with the grapes. And I think it came out really good. And I kudos to her. She did a wonderful job in that label.
Yeah, a lot of really cool designs going on there. A lot of people online, including myself, were able to see that you just hosted the eighth annual Bernie Williams Day celebrity softball game and all-star concert where Doc Gooden and many other big names joined you in a softball game followed by a concert. How did the event go this year, and what does this fundraiser mean to you?
The event went really, really well. It's usually a really long day because we play, the game, which is 2.5 hours, and then we have to sort of turn around right after and play the concert, which I think that day started probably around 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And it's like a 2 hour concert too. So it's kind of like a double whammy for, both the entertainers, myself included, and the audience that, if you go to the game, and then kind of wait around, for the concert to happen. But I think it was well worth it. We it raised some funds for Richfield arts and music education programs, and also Tune Into Lung Health, and Berbringer Engelheim was also involved in the process. And it seems like the whole community gets involved in it year after year. I think this is like the 8th or 9th year that we have done it. And, I just, being indebted to the Richfield community, especially Richfield Playhouse, because they sort of adopted me, and they said, hey, we're going to support your art. Even though you were better known as a baseball player, we're going to take your art seriously and your music seriously, and we're going to have you perform here. And that was kind of like the beginning of it. It has turned into a really cool event every year in the summer in Richfield, and just so really cool to be part of it.
You've worked with some really incredible musicians on your albums, including Bruce Springsteen, Paul McCartney, right? Saxophonist Mark Rivera. You've also played against some of the biggest names in baseball history. Do you find yourself getting starstruck more by baseball players or musicians? And what's that like?
Oh, definitely musicians. I think there are. It is sort of a symbiotic relationship where I go and I just like, oh man, you were my heroes when I was growing up. Listening to music, and I took a lot of your music and its influence in the way that I play right now. And then the musicians, whether it's Bruce Springsteen or James Taylor, or some of the jazz cats that I played with, I said, yeah. And we watched you along, playing with those games, with the Yankees and winning all those World Series championships. And we are as excited to meet you as you are to meet us. So it is just a great thing. And I feel, certainly a lot of respect, that comes into play, and a lot of admiration for my part, because I get to live my dream of playing baseball and then turning it all around, and being able to be in the same stage with all those great people. So it's an amazing thing for me.
Yeah, switching back over to baseball, as a four-time World Series champion with the Yankees, you know what it takes to earn a ring here in New York. Does this current Yankee team resemble any parts of those 90 championship teams you were on? Or do you see any champion caliber qualities in the current Yankees team?
Yeah, I see a lot of championship quality in these teams, that have come, over the last, 5, 10 years. I think the addition, that taking the step to sign Aaron Judge to be the anchor of that team, kind of like the face of the team, I think was a great move. And now you can build a team around him, and it has come, uh, around really well during the course of the year. You know that you have to go through some peaks and valleys and some injuries, and some key people have gotten hurt. But I think we still at a very good time of the year where they can start making some adjustments. I know that the trading deadline is pretty soon, so I know the Yankees always have the ability to grab some of these guys that may be available to that they can enhance the team for this year. So looking forward to what's going to happen. I know that when we played, we sort of created this kind of sort of scenario where the Yankees always had a bullseye on their back. That was the team to beat. And I think a lot of organizations took, a lot of cues for what we were able to do, in those years. And they have sort of modeled their teams, with that sort of model. So I think for this current Yankees, I think that the task is probably a lot more difficult, because I think, the teams have sort of learned and they have assembled a lot of, great players on those teams. So I think it's, the task is probably harder for them, but not impossible. I think they have a lot of great personnel on that team. And obviously the addition of Soto in the lineup, Volpe evolving as a, front of the line player, with their defense, stellar defense. And I think, Garrett Cole and all those guys in the bullpen and the pitching staff, have what it takes, to take it to the next level. It usually happens every 20 years or so. I think the last time they won, it was, around 09. So it has been probably some time, now that these guys know what it takes, and they have gone through winning, and they have gone through losing also, in key situations. So I think they have a wealth of experience in this, current reiteration of the Yankees. I think they have a chance to make it.
You've been in Tampa this year working as a spring training instructor. What value do you think you bring to the team, and what value have you gotten out of it personally?
Well, I think it's probably more important the value that I get because having the access to be, front and center, hanging out, with those guys in the clubhouse, in the batting cages, seeing them, preparing, for the upcoming season. It was just great to see, and it's kind of brought me back to the years that I was doing it. And then, you get to impart, a little bit of what you have gone through, your experience, and, what it takes, to go through certain situations, mostly the mental aspect of the game, what to expect, in certain situations where you are expect to win. For the people that have not been in the team for that long, I think it's always a great treat to see the old guys, come into the scene and say, hey, what was it, when you guys were playing, and try to tell them, from our experience, the little that we can, contribute to the success of the team is always a great thing. I think, realizing that the Yankees organization and for more, Major League Baseball, it is almost like a fraternity. You have people that, come, playing from, the 1900s, all the way to the 2000s. And it seems like we are always playing for something bigger than ourselves. And it's just a great camaraderie, whether you played in the 50s or you played in the 70s, you play in the 90s, and now you're playing in the 2000s, 2010s. And it's always a great thing when you get people from other eras to come in and try to help the young guys and tell them, what it was, like. So it's a great thing for, both from the teams and from myself as well. It's always a great time to go there.
There are a lot of big personalities on this Yankees team. You mentioned Juan Soto, guys like him, Alex Verdugo, and now Jazz Chisholm Jr. When you think back to your time on the Yankees in the 90s and the 2000s, who were some of the guys that popped because of their personality, and how have you seen personality and that aspect of the game change over time?
Well, yeah, I think, there has been some changes. I think for us, I think we had a lot of this sort of a team first kind of attitude, and I mean, except for Derek Jeter, which just kind of like was sort of appointed the face of the team. I think, when it came down to the media, he was kind of like the guy that was kind of front and center, making comments about, the outcome of games and series and things like that. I think we have a couple of really interesting personalities, like David Wells, with his flamboyancy, and Paul O'Neill with his intensity. But for the most part, I think we did have sort of a cohesiveness in the team where we weren't really volunteer a lot of information to the media. We try to keep everything really close to our belt, in the clubhouse and things like that. I think, we, with the advent of social media being like a great force now in everything, including sports, I see more of the guys going into kind of Instagram pages and Facebook pages and try to post things a little bit more of a, trying to promote their brand a little bit more as opposed to more of the team kind of attitude. But I think, that comes with time. And I think this is the time that people are just doing that. I just hope that it doesn't take away from, what they have to do on the field, which it hasn't in my mind, but it's just another avenue to have fans, know a little bit more about themselves and just be more close to their favorite players. I think that's a good positive thing that has happened. But the game is played different now. I think, back in those days, I think my career overlapped with kind of like the quiet, speak softly and carry a big stick kind of guy, where you kind of hit a home run and you just kind of put your head down and run the bases and not really, make any noise and try to show off the opposition. That kind of ended. I think, you got players, striking out and, pump fisting, if kind of hitting a home run and pointing out to the clubhouse and the dugout and the fans and just saluting everybody. It is a different atmosphere that you play, and I think the game, obviously would have a way of policing itself. But people have to adjust. This is the way that we're playing right now, and I think it's more colorful and it brings a lot more character to the game, and I think it's a good thing.
We asked Johnny Bench this when we were up in Cooperstown a couple weeks ago for the Hall of Fame inductions, and I just wanted to get your take on it. Robot umpires, yes or no, Bernie Williams?
Wow, man. I think it's a very controversial question to ask. I think that umpires add a really interesting element to the game. I also think that we have worked so hard, during the course of, the off season, spring training, during the course of the season, in and out, going, through the thick and thin to have one particular situation in the course of the game being kind of like out of our hands, sort of way, and have an umpire making a wrong call or just kind of taking the game out of our hands because of that. I think, for certain situations, maybe robotics will probably, send a really cool message, which is like, these things do not lie, and it is what it is. Having the human element in the game is what we'd have done, for, probably century right now. And it's an important aspect of the game, I think. But I think if balls and strikes, definitely robotics. Out or safe, you can have, obviously the advent of instant replay. But there's a couple of things that the human element, I think, is still important in the game. And it brings a lot of color and character to the game itself.
Well, hey, Bernie and his band of friends will perform live on Saturday, August 3rd at Millbrook Winery in the beautiful Hudson Valley. Jazz, wine, and Bernie Williams. What else could you ask for? You got to check it out. For Evan Harkin and Nick Palmer, thank you so much for your time, Bernie. Let's go back to the studio. This is one-on-one, and tickets and info are available at millbrookwine.com. Get your tickets now. Bernie Williams, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Take care. Good luck to you. God bless.